I thought I'd put together a video on converting 300 blackout brass from 556 brass. I know there's a lot of different videos on YouTube of how to do it, but I just thought I'd put one. Everybody does steps a little bit different, and thought I'd show you how I do mine. So for the converting process, for case trimming, when we get to that, I use the Little Crow case trimmer, and I have that in a drill press. And I just use a little 6-inch chop saw for chopping off the shoulder and neck of the 556 brass. Then I use the Lyman case prep center for chamfering, deburring, and cleaning out the primer pockets. And for when it gets to reloading, I've got the Dillon RL 550. So I keep all my brass separated. Like this is some that I've already gone through the entire process of. So this is brass that I've already chopped down, sized it, deprimed it, cleaned it out. This is ready to go, ready to be reloaded. And this is Lake City brass. So then now have what converting the Federal. This is once fired Federal brass. So all I do is get the brass ready. Of course, I always wear eye protection and hearing protection when doing this, because you got little pieces of brass that can go flying somewhere. But I just have a block of wood that I cut out. I just routed it out to hold the brass in place and to where it's going to cut evenly the same time each time, because you want your brass, when you cut it off, you want it to be right around 137, so that's 1368, which is sufficient. I don't measure every single one of them, just showing you, 1389. So right in the neighborhood. The main thing is that you don't cut them too short. However many I feel like doing, whether it's 50 or 100, and then as you can see, it doesn't make a perfectly clean cut. So now we've got to chamfer and deburr it, and that's where this prep center comes in really handy. So now you've got a smoothed out piece of brass that I'll be willing to put into a sizing die. Now, since I have a progressive press, I don't have a single stage press, so I gotta wait to deprime the primer out of here. When I do the sizing, it'll pop the primer out. Otherwise, I would prefer to have already taken the primer out, and that way I could clean out the primer pocket while I'm doing this, but I come back and do it afterwards. Okay, so now that we got several that have been chopped off, chamfered and deburred them, so now they're ready to go into the sizing die. Okay, now that we're ready to go ahead and, for me, deprime them and resize it, I use the dry neck lube, and then I like to use the Imperial sizing dye wax. So what I'll do is I just dip the case neck, tap it out, and just a little bit goes a long way. You can do about 3 cases with just a little bit of one-time lube in your fingers. But lube the case and neck, put it in, primer came out. So now that the primer's out and case has been formed, you can see the original case, and then now that it's been formed, so I'll just keep doing these. Okay, so now that just doing a few here for the example. So now we gotta trim them to size, but go ahead and clean out the primer pockets first too. So now you can see the primer pocket's nice and clean. There's a dirty. That one was tight. Okay. So now time to trim them to size. So let's see what it is before, because right now it's just probably expanded a little bit after being in the sizing die. So right now it's at 1382. So the minimum length is 1.348 and the maximum length is 1.368. So 1348 for the minimum, 1.368 for the maximum. So I always trim to about 1.360. That's what I found to be good. And we got to plug it in first. Like I say, I just raise it up. So feel it, you can see that this isn't spinning anymore, and you know that it's trimmed it. I'll check it. 1356. It's good. See how the next one goes. If it stays that, I'll end up making an adjustment to make it 1360, about 1356. See how the next one does. .1358, which is still, a lot of people like 1358. I just, like I say, usually like 1360. So now I basically have blackout brass now. I just then always give it just a little, very light chamfer on the inside, very light. And then I'll put these brass into my, I have a Dillon vibratory cleaner, and I'll end up just putting this brass in there and cleaning it up, and there you've got a converted brass. Just quickly converted some 556 to 300 blackout. So there you go.